Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer, and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time, we finished up with Rock Pokemon Month, as we had a jaunt through Pokemon Fire Red to see if I could beat it with just a single nose pass. Interesting, but a brutal endgame there. Today though, we kick off Bird Pokemon Month as I head to Gen 2 and see if I can beat Pokemon Silver with a single Pidgey. Now then, Pidgey. We have a 251 base stat total, our best stat being speed at 56. Everything else is 45 or below. So, we are suitably underpowered for this run. Grand! That'll make things interesting. We're weak to rock, electric and ice. We are immune to ground and ghost. We resist bug and grass. Via level up, we get very little that's useful move-wise. I can see us keeping quick attack for a while and wing attack for the entire run, since it's the best flying move we get. I could try some weird stuff with mirror move, but let's be honest, I'm probably not going to. Via TM, we don't get too much that's useful. Hopefully, we get a good hidden power type. I think you all know how much I'm probably going to lean on return in this. Mud Slap is probably going to be essential for the Steel Gym, and maybe the Ghost Gym too. Steel Wing would be a nice option, but by the time we get it post-game, we probably won't need it. Predictions. Whitney might be tough with Miltank's rollout. I can see the Steel Gym being rough for sure. That one might be something we save for as late as possible. The Ice Gym might not be pleasant as well. I can see the Elite Four not being too bad, bar maybe Lance and his Aerodactyl for sure. Blue's Rhydon worries me. Red though, I'm not sure either way. The rules. In combat, I can only use Pidgey. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but unable to fight. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle, but healing is permitted outside combat. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. If you do enjoy what you see, like, subscribe and ring that bell. I don't figure there's much in the starter choices, so I replace Chikorita with Pidgey so that I can do the whole run with our tiny bird. I figure Cyndaquil, come Typhlosion, is probably just about the hardest for us to fight, given that it can burn and smokescreen us. There's not much in it really, but that's my choice. I nicknamed the Pidgey Flappy, because why not? I was going to go down the pest angle of pigeons, but in the end I chose not to. And for some reason, I was thinking of that old phone game Flappy Bird from a few years back. Okay, maybe it was actually more than 5 years back. I do a bit of training, and eventually, after making it to Mr. Pokemon and back, I have to do the first rival fight in Cherry Grove City. Tackle has already missed a bunch when fighting random Pokemon, so I am not looking forward to this, I will say that. Anyway, he has the Cyndaquil, and it's actually okay, because across the 3 turns of the fight that we land tackle attacks, it never actually fights back, merely fixing the squinty gaze upon us in a fashion that certainly makes us uncomfortable, but nothing else really. We take no damage and free hit it with tackle. When we get to Violet City, we have the first gym and the fight with Faulkner, which could be an interesting one, given that it is a Pidgey-line mirror match. But at the same time, I think we'll be okay. We'll have some levels by then, probably enough to brute force him. He begins with his own Pidgey, and it is a lower level than us, so we can hammer into it with gust attacks to take it down in 2 swift hits, while it only lands a tackle in exchange. Pidgeotto takes less damage from Gust and deals more damage with its own, but we've still got a bit of a toughness advantage and we can survive over the course of the fight to inflict our damage upon it. Despite being our evolved form, we can free hit it with our Gust to win the first badge. After getting to Azalea Town and kicking Team Rocket hard out of the Slowpoke well, it's time for the second gym, and I have my suspicions about how easy or difficult this battle may be. We really shouldn't struggle with the Bug Gym, should we? I hope I'm not wrong. You know what? I'm not. Metapod goes down to a single Gust, as you might expect. The Cypher is next, and it doesn't even look that intimidating come this point. We 2-hit it with our Gust, taking only a Fury Cutter in exchange, which we shrug off. Kakuna is last, and that is also a one-hit with Gust. I think the rival might be harder though, as he leaps on us at the exit to the town as we try to leave, and it's time to fight him until the death, I guess, or at least until he gives up and runs off. Anyway, despite his big talk, he's not that worrying. Ghastly is first, and we one-hit that with Gust. I could have used Mud Slap, but I doubt it would have one hit. Zubat is next, and it survives our Gust, only to hit us with Bite before we drop it with a quick attack. So far, so good then. Last is Quilava, who is a bit tougher, as we do less than half its health with our Gust, and it keeps hitting us with Ember attacks, which I am worried about, because a burn would probably really put the result of the fight into doubt. But another Gust and a final quick attack are enough to drop Quilava hard. Up next is Goldenrod City and the third gym. With that in mind, you know what's coming. It's time for the fight with Whitney and the Satanic Cow. I don't think we're going to be up to tanking lots of hits. 2 rollouts might end us. 3 definitely will, so we do have to be careful. Let's see how this goes, and fast before my nerve goes. My prediction comes true. Clefairy is out first, and we swiftly drop that with a wing attack to take us into the duel with the deadly Bovine. Our wing attack does less than half, and as predicted, it goes into rollout. I fire a Mud Slap at it to hopefully stop the rollout before it powers up too much and to tip it into knockout range. We survive the second rollout, and then Miltank survives our wing attack. It takes us out with rollout 3. I try again quickly after. I mean, I could use return, but I'd rather not resort to that yet. Let's see if we can do better this time. I'd say it couldn't go much worse, but there's always worse. Clefairy, we don't have to talk about. Nothing changes there. I go for Mud Slap first turn on Miltank to spike her accuracy as she goes into rollout, and we trade blows, hitting wing attacks on her and getting hit by rollouts in exchange. 2 of them put us in knockout range, and she survives our wing attack on a sliver before the third rollout misses, and we drop her with a crit quick attack that was probably unnecessary, but I'll take it. In Ecruteak City, since we are not limited to having to beat the rival first like we are in later games, I'm looking at you, Pokemon Crystal and HGSS. I decide to make a try on Morty pretty much straight away. We do have a stab physical neutral damage move, so that's handy. Wing attack is probably going to be a better option than Mud Slap over the course of the fight, I figure. You know what? This actually goes well. Ghastly goes down to wing attack, which means we can go into the first of his 2 Haunters and take that down with a wing attack as well. And before we know it, we're 2 up. Gengar will probably be harder though. It survives our wing attack and then thankfully misses Hypnosis. I had a lot of frustration with Gengar and Hypnosis in last week's run. We take it down with a second wing attack. Haunter number 2 doesn't do any better than the first one did, and we drop that with wing attack. I make a quick try on the rival while I'm here, figuring that I might as well. I need as many levels as possible building towards the Steel Gym, though I intend to do both the Fighting and Ice Gyms first, because that is the sensible thing. The Fighting Gym for sure is going to be our next destination. He begins with Haunter, and we've plenty of experience fighting these by now, so we drop it with wing attack. Magnemite is up next, and thankfully we one-hit that with our Mud Slap before it can do stuff to us we might not like. Zubat is third, and we take it out with wing attack before Quilava is last. It survives our wing attack and counter-attacks with Ember, but we drop it with a quick attack to give us a win at the end, and we can move on. After much travelling, I end up at the Fighting Gym, and I figure that this is likely not going to be an issue. I mean, I could be wrong, but I hope that I'm not. Nah, we're probably going to be faster. Super effective stab wing attack. Yeah, we're golden. That's how this is going to go. That's my prediction, and it plays out nicely versus Primeape as we strike it down with a wing attack to give us the early victory in this fight. Nicely done. Poliwrath is next, and it actually survives our wing attack, which is worrying before he wastes his turn by going for Mind Reader. What an idiot! We strike out with a wing attack for the victory. I go do the Lake of Rage and Team Rocket hideout stuff next because we are nowhere near ready for the Steel Gym just quite yet. While I am at the Lake of Rage, I go and get the Hidden Power TM to see what type we've got. I go around and try it out on some Pokemon in the grass, discovering that it does neutral damage versus Flaffy, so it's not ground type, nor is it flying, electric or steel. It also does neutral damage to Venonat, so it's not fire, psychic, rock, fighting, poison, bug or grass. So it will be ice, ghost, water, dark, dragon or normal then. I really hope it's not normal. I figure ice or water would be most useful out of all those. It also does neutral damage to Girafarig, so it's not ghost or dark. Dragon, normal, ice or water. It's going to be normal, isn't it? It does neutral damage to Noctowl, so it is not ice. I think we go and find a Geodude or something, and that will tell us. Super effective will be water. Not very effective will be normal. Neutral will be dragon. We do eventually find a Geodude in Mount Mortar, and Hidden Power does super effective damage. So yeah, water type then. I like it, I can work with that. That will make the Steel Gym a lot easier. Anyway, Team Rocket hideout. And while I'm going through, this seems a perfect time to talk about what's ongoing with the channel. In the week that just was, we had the start of a brand new playthrough, one of Hogwarts Legacy, which may or may not turn out to be a bad and possibly controversial decision on my part. We will see. I am actually enjoying that so far, so yeah. We had episodes 23 and 24 of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, which covered the Ancient Cistern and possibly the most irritating use of the motion controls yet with the boss. There were 2 episodes of Pokemon Gold Unova, episodes 4 and 5 of that playthrough, as well as the start of the playthrough for Resident Evil 2 Remake. So, it has been a busy week. 2 new playthroughs begun. Let's talk about the challenges. Rock Pokemon month came to an end, and originally, this month, March, was going to be Fighting type month, which I scrapped for the time being, coming up with Bird Pokemon month instead. So, we kick off with Pokemon Silver with a single Pidgey, which is where we are now. Next week is a return to Pokemon Emerald, as I challenge it with just a single Tailo. That one is sure to be intriguing, we'll have to wait and see. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comments section or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord, where you can do it too there. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can find the link to my Patreon down there too. But as always, thanks for watching regardless, folks. Let's go kick on with the Ice Gym. Price always feels like he should be a harder opponent than he actually is. This is probably what comes before us getting beat down, I imagine. The Ice type is super effective against us, so we do have to be very careful indeed. I don't fancy getting hit by an Icy Wind or a Blizzard or something like that. We are struggling to hit hard, so I utilise the Return TM to give us a boost. Seal is a one-hit knockout with Return, so that is good. Being honest, I wasn't ever really worried about Seal in the slightest. Dewgong also goes down to a single return, which is even better because Dewgong can be tanky. Piloswine is also physically tanky and survives our return, which is worrying because it knows Blizzard. It never uses it though, going for a 5-hit Fury attack. And then he heals it. We drop it with 2 Water-type hidden powers though to give us the win, and just like that, we're 6 badges down. Let us think on the assault that I have to make on the Steel Gym, because I am not looking forward to this. We have to deal with 2 Magnemite who can both paralyse us and I think confuse us too, so that's an obstacle. There is also the Steelix who has Rock Throw, so that is going to be potentially fatal too. I mean, we are about the level 50 mark, so we do have some semblance of power on our side, but it's still going to be rough. Let's try it and see. So, we weren't far off. The issue we had was not being able to one-hit the Magnemite with Mud Slap. We're not a million miles off, but it was the difference. The first one was a 2-hit, but missed Thunder Wave. The second one was also a 2-hit, but unfortunately, it did land Supersonic and Thunderbolt when we hit ourselves in confusion on the second turn. That was pretty much what killed us as we went into the fight with Steelix on red health. Our hidden power did massive damage to that and probably would have 2-hit that had it not landed Iron Tail on us, and we had no chance of surviving at that range. I am going to train a little bit because all we need is that little extra boost in power, and I think we take this relatively easily after what I just saw. I come back at level 51 and I hope that's a tipping point. I turn out to get that tipping point as we can one-hit the first Magnemite with a Mud Slap, and that is massive because it probably means we can do it to the second Magnemite too. And what do you know? I'm right, we drop that with Mud Slap too. Last is Steelix, and at full health I'm reasonably confident. We blast it with hidden power and it misses the Iron Tail, which, if that had happened last time, we'd have won then. Oh well, she doesn't even heal it, we take it out with another hidden power for the 7th badge. Next is the Radio Tower Team Rocket stuff, and about the only highlight here is the fight with the rival, whose team has got a bit more intimidating, but not by much. Things go pretty well here as we sweep through his team with little difficulty. Golbat, out first, goes down to return, and that prompts the arrival of Magnemite. It is at a lower level than the ones that were used by Jasmine, and we wreck that with Mud Slap. Haunter appears next and gets trashed by Wing Attack before the Sneasel is 4th, and that also gets wrecked with a Wing Attack. Last out is Quilava, and I shoot it down with a hidden power, not expecting to one-hit it, but pleased when it does. Moving on then. We've got the Dragon Gym next, and initial battle data testing seems positive as we fight through the gym trainers. There is one trainer who uses a level 37 Dragonair, and I always figure him a good barometer for the level 37 Dragonair used by Claire, so we should be good. Kingdra might be interesting, but it usually is, to be fair. The first Dragonair follows my prediction and we knock it out with a return for a first victory. How do we do this as the second Dragonair? Same story, we one-hit it with return. Now, the third Dragonair. Yeah, that's also a one-hit with return before we hit Kingdra with the same move. It survives on red health and goes for Surf, which is actually massive because if that had been Smokescreen, it would be a very worrying fight. She heals, but we take it out with Wing Attack and return to give us the win, and once we're done with her nonsense in Dragon's Den, that's 8 badges. We head to Kanto next and through Victory Road. We have the final mandatory rival fight of the game here, and this is always a worrying one. Not because his team is strong, but because a knockout means he's got to go through my HM slaves too before we can wipe and start over. There is one Pokemon he has that worries me. He begins with Sneasel and we down it with return. Before that Pokemon I was worried about, Magneton, comes out. I know we are not going to one-hit that with Mud Slap, and I'm proved right, but thankfully it misses Thunder Wave and we can down it at the second attempt. Golbat is third and it goes down to our return before Haunter is out 4th and we down that with a Wing Attack to prompt her into bringing out Kadabra, and we end that with a Wing Attack. Typhlosion is last and it survives our hidden power and smashes into us with Flame Wheel, though it isn't a debilitating blow. We can take it out with a second hidden power to let us access the Pokemon League. Now on that very subject, as we stand here in the Indigo Plateau, here are our stats as we do at level 62. These are not stellar stats, but I suppose the least that can be said is that there's a pretty even spread. There's not really any areas where weak, our attack and speed are about both as good as we can get. Our special stats aren't bad either. The only real hole is our defence, but it is what it is. Time to take your guesses on if we can do it at this level or not, folks. And here we go. Psychic Trainer Will is first, and I have a few thoughts about how this might go. I think the worst opponents here might be Slowbro, if I'm honest. The rest shouldn't be too bad, but I imagine that we'll have to see. Anyway, the first Xatu goes down to return, which is expected, so I can't complain too much there. Next is Jinx, who we also take down with a single return. Slowbro is third and it survives our return, but only goes for Cursed. Despite the stat boost, we can take it out with a wing attack. Xatu number 2 goes down to return before Executor is last, and we take that out with a wing attack for a win. That could have been a lot worse, I guess. Poison Trainer Koga is next, and given 3/5 of his team is at least part bug type, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. Muck and Crobat might give us some issues, but let's see how this goes, shall we? Ariados is first, and we take it down with wing attack, as might be expected, before Forretress comes out next, and this one is tanky, thanks to that defense stat. It takes about a third of its health from our wing attack, going for spikes and swift as the fight continues, but we take it out with hidden power and another wing attack. Muck is next, and it survives our return, going for minimize, which is worrying, but we can finish it with a wing attack. I go for wing attack versus Crobat because I'm not sure if we'll one-hit it with return, and I don't want him to heal, all while he goes for double team. We miss the next wing attack and get hit with one of Crobat's own, which does decent damage to us. We finish that at the next attempt though, and then we down Venomoth with the same move. Harder, but still manageable. Moving on. Bruno then, and do I really have to talk about how this is probably going to go? I think this might be the easiest of the lot. If wing attack one hits, we're probably going to sweep straight through. Hitmontop is first, and it actually does land an attack, a priority one with quick attack, but it does damage nonetheless as we drop it with wing attack. Onyx goes down to hidden power before Hitmonchan is next. We go for a wing attack and we drop it hard. Machamp is fourth, and it survives our wing attack on a sliver before hitting us with Rock Slide for decent damage. He heals it, and then we get a high damage roll on the next turn to take the Machamp out with wing attack. Last is Hitmonlee, and yeah, it doesn't do any kind of better than the previous fighting types did, and we wreck it with wing attack. Karen is next, and I think this might be the first stumbling block, because her Umbreon is always an issue unless we're super high leveled. It's defensively bulky, so one hitting it isn't always an option, and it usually begins with Sand Attack, which can be pretty rough over the course of a fight. At least we have a good counter for her Vileplume, which can be irritating. We get insanely lucky in the first round of the fight. Umbreon survives return, but misses Sand Attack, meaning we can drop it with another return. Gengar survives wing attack, but kills itself with Curse. If this was a later gen, that would be a problem, but we're okay for the moment. Murkrow goes down to a single return before Houndoom is out fourth, and we also take that out with a single return. Last is Vileplume, and we drop that with wing attack to take the win. That was easier than I thought it would be. Okay then, Lance. Now I am worried here. His Dragonite have Thunder Wave capabilities, so getting paralysed will be extremely rough. Let's see how we do, but I'm not confident. I thought this was going far too well. We can't one-hit Gyarados with return, leaving it on a sliver while it goes for Rain Dance. We finish it off with wing attack, but it turns out the damage is done as Dragonite number 1 comes in. It survives return and hits Thunder Wave before lashing us with 2 rain accuracy boosted Thunders to drop us hard. Paralysis stops us from counter-attacking. Okay, that wasn't unexpected, so we go again, I guess. I battle back finally at level 74, a full 10 levels higher than our first attempt, and I want to see if this makes any sort of difference. It does go better, I will call fairness where fairness is due, but not by much. At least this time, when the battle begins, we can one-hit Gyarados with return. Gyarados is never going to be the issue though. The fact remains that we're not quite able to one-hit Dragonite with return. It's close, it goes into low red health, so we're not far off, but getting paralysed and hit with Thunder isn't great, even if we do take it out with Wing Attack. The second Dragonite and Lance's third Pokemon fires 3 Blizzard attacks at us, the middle one missing, and we can't capitalise on that miss thanks to being fully paralysed, and we duly go down shortly after. So we need to be stronger then. I come back at level 78, curious to see if this gives us the edge that we need. We're one-hitting pretty much all the Elite Four Pokemon now, so that's a good sign. Anyway, the fight begins as per usual with Gyarados coming out, and as we did last time, we one-hit that with return. This time though, when Dragonite number 1 comes out, we one-hit it with return, which is absolutely massive. Dragonite number 2, the Blizzard Dragonite, comes out third, and we hit that with a return to down it. Aerodactyl is a bit more troublesome as it survives Hidden Power and hits us with Rock Slide for decent damage, but we can take it out with the second attack with another Hidden Power. Charizard is a one-hit with return before the level 50 Dragonite is last, and we fortunately get a crit with our return to take it down in a single hit and give us the vital win. With the last of his Pokemon on the canvas, Lance takes us into the Hall of Fame and registers our Pidgey as a champion forever in the history of Kanto and Johto. Now normally this would be the end, but since there's a whole post-game segment in Kanto, as per usual, we're going to make the tries on Blue and Red, the 2 final bosses. The first 7 gym leaders in Kanto aren't really worth talking about, so after firing through them, here we stand in front of the Viridian City Pokemon Gym. Blue begins with Pidgeot and Flappy has to face his final evolved form. Flappy stands victorious though as we knock it out with a single return. Next, he goes for Rhydon, and this doesn't go well for him as we blast it down with a crit Hidden Power. Alakazam is next, and we drop that with a return for a third knockout, and Flappy is on a roll. Fourth is Gyarados, and it survives our return, only to go for Rain Dance. He heals it, and we take it out with 2 wing attacks to send it crashing down to the mat. Arcanine is fifth and lands extreme speed, but we drop it with return before Executor is last and it is duly dispatched with a wing attack. Simple. You know who probably won't be simple? Red, the final boss of the game. Now, we're not too far above him level-wise at the moment, so this is probably going to be rough. But for the most part, at least we don't have to worry too much about super effective hits. Just Pikachu and Blastoise with Blizzard, and the former shouldn't be too much of an issue if we are faster. Snorlax might be rough, we'll see. Anyway, Pikachu is a one-hit with return, so that's a threat out of the way. Blastoise is second, and our return does more than half. Thankfully, it doesn't go for Blizzard, rather choosing Rain Dance instead, which is perplexing, and we take it out with a second return. Espeon is third and survives our return on a sliver, which isn't good, but thankfully it goes for Psychic rather than Reflect, and we can take it out the next turn, despite Psychic doing over half our health in damage. We can heal it though, thanks to the leftovers. Snorlax is a 2-hit with return, only going for Amnesia when it has the chance to attack. Charizard is also a 2-hit with return, but we managed to survive a flamethrower quite well that did decent damage that nearly roasted our Pidgey into a chicken dinner before Venusaur is last. We hit a wing attack, it survives and starts to charge up Solar Beam. We drop it with a second wing attack, we don't give it a chance to attack, and just like that, we've beaten Red at the first attempt. Okay, I did not expect that to happen. Well then, that was actually a pretty straightforward run. Pidgey did way better here than I thought it would. They had any sort of right to, let's be honest. Mind you, there was some pretty good luck here and there. I wouldn't have expected Lance to give us more trouble than Red, but hey ho. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe away if you haven't done so already. It's really good for the YouTube algorithms and helps others discover the channel. Join me again next week for another Pokemon challenge as we continue Bird Pokemon Month and take on Pokemon Emerald with a single Tailo. Doesn't seem like 2 minutes since we were there already for Rock Pokemon Month, does it? As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comments section or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. I've not really got too much to say for the outro, so I'm going to cut it short here and say, as always folks, thanks again for watching. Take care now, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye now, so long.